What's going on? I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, and I am bringing you a celestial wisdom. I'm going to be pointing out little pins on the map that are affecting us right now, that will affect us for some time coming. This is going to give you a little bit of energy around what you can expect for the next week or so. It's been a little bit since I've recorded a video as well, so let me catch you up real quick. I have been enjoying the beginning of summer here. Spent the week of my birthday on hiatus. I actually unplugged, believe it or not. That was very unusual for me, and it was a nice reset. And then it's just been hitting the ground running since then. And because I'm going to be heading off to Nine Gates programs again for our esoteric school in July at the end of this month. So I will be out of pocket for those 2 weeks that I'll be gone. I'll see if it works out. I'll try and get some more video and information to you. Hopefully you're following my social media post where I am posting new and full moon memes, as well as when a big shift happens, like Uranus in Gemini now. I'll have some memes around how that affects your sign. Remember to look at your sun, moon, and rising sign. And if you're not sure, you can always get a free chart on astro.com, or there's some other places that you can get one. You can reach out to me. I'm happy to pull your chart for you as well. You will need your time of birth, your date, place, and time of birth. So super important if you can access that information to make sure you get it, because that's important for accuracy when it comes to looking at your chart and knowing what your rising sign is. That's really the thing that's affected the most, depending on some of the other timing pieces, but always important. So look out for those. One of the things that you'll notice too is we are heading into retrograde season. Saturn is already retrograde. We're at Pluto's retrograde, but the real talk of the town, as we already know, because it happens a couple of times a year, is Mercury. And Mercury's retrograding in fire signs, fire and water this year. So it's not going to go back into Cancer. It's staying in Leo when it retrogrades next week, actually, next Thursday into, it's Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So I want to talk about that because we're already feeling the effects of a Mercury retrograde, because we're going to be hitting shadow right about now when I'm doing this video. And I'm actually doing this video on a full moon in Capricorn. So if you're watching it hindsight, then the energy right now is probably a little intense for a lot of people because it is a full moon, number one. Number two, it's in the serious and disciplined, achievement-oriented sign of Capricorn. But what I love about it is that each full moon and the themes of it brings a culmination of the 6 months prior. So think back to January when there was a new moon in Cancer and you were setting intentions, right? And maybe the intentions were around finding that sense of belonging and where's home and what do I need to feel really secure? Or maybe I want to ramp up my intuition a little bit more and start trusting in my emotional body a little bit more, maybe some self-care around it. And then we're looking ahead now to this present moment of, have these intentions started to sprout? Are we really nurturing those goals that we set at maybe the beginning of the year, or those intentions, like I say, the seeds we planted? Are we starting to see some of the fruits of that labor if we've been consistent with it? And that's what this full moon in Capricorn is all about. It is about achieving the goals, the things in our lives that we want most, and releasing the things that we do not. So putting that as a little pin on the map. And we'll feel the effects of the full moon. Usually it happens as it builds, and then gets released at the exact moment. But you can still feel some of the after effects, or have some of the contemplation time afterwards. So spend a little time with that, give yourself over to some spaciousness to just settle in to whatever was revealed for you. Okay. Now, let's talk about first Venus in Gemini. She's been in Gemini for a week now. making us probably a little chattier, a little more intellectually stimulated, flirty, fun. We want all those Gemini kind of traits in our relationships and the things that bring us joy, that the things that maybe we find some monetary value in. If it isn't exciting, if it doesn't kind of get us going, intellectually stimulating, that sort of thing, we might feel a little bored by it. And so maybe over the last week leading up to this full moon in Capricorn, there's been some things where like, yeah, I don't know that I want to do that anymore. It's too boring for me. It's not energizing. So I need something a little more exciting and stimulating in my life. And so Venus in Gemini has a wonderful way of doing that, of stirring some of those things up for us. And also, that being that social butterfly. So many of us may have had our social calendars start to fill up. I know I have. As a matter of fact, I've got quite a bit of activity coming this weekend with some family and friends. It should be a lot of fun. And we're looking for that variety, right? And mixing things up. We also are looking for some lightheartedness in our relationships. So if your relationship, like a romantic relationship or someone that you feel really connected to, has felt a little heavy or a little too serious, this is a great time to throw kind of, like I say, caution to the wind and just get fun, flirty, tell the jokes, share what you're interested in, learn something new, and share it with one another. That can actually deepen the bonds between the two of you and really letting some things just roll off your back. You know, if you felt like you were taking things a little too personally, this is a time to go, doesn't matter. Just go with it, right? Let's just have some fun. Go do you, I'll do me, and we come back together and we enjoy each other. Now, adding to that energy, we also have Uranus that has moved into the sign of Gemini, and it will stay in Gemini for the next 6 to 7 years. It'll retrograde back into Taurus just slightly at the end of the year, and then fully back into Gemini after that. So we get a real taste of what Uranus in Gemini looks like. And that happened on Monday, the 7th. And so, like I say, this is a long transit. You know, we're talking a good 6.5, 7 years before it would transit into the sign of Cancer. So here we have Uranus in this planet of revolution, of innovation, transformation. Uranus is the great severer. So Uranus comes in and says, like a lightning strike, because it often catches us off guard, says, this doesn't work for you anymore. Off you go. I remember when Uranus was transiting my son many years ago, and it was making a sextile, actually. And I was dragging my feet for a decision that I needed to make. And then I remember waking up one day and it felt like I was just crawling out of my skin kind of thing, the way I describe it. And I was like, yep, it's time. Boom, done. Now I have Moon conjunct Uranus, so there's a commonality in me that I have a tendency to stay and stay and stay, and then suddenly things change, and you know it does happen for me in a very quick, fast way, and it can catch not only myself but other people off guard. So I'm very acutely aware, self-aware of that, to try not to do that, and also that need for change, because Uranus does invoke a lot of change. I try not to create change just for the sake of creating change, right? Because that doesn't always go well when you're trying to build something that's sustainable, right? Keep all these things in mind. The reason I mention that is because with Uranus and Gemini, Gemini being an air sign, it likes, like I mentioned, it has that intellectual stimulation. It's how we gather information. It's how we process information and disseminate it. It's how we connect pieces and parts all moving together into one synergetic place. And Gemini also is the sign of the great learner, if you will. So think of it in that way. When you have the great severer with a great learner, somebody who just gathers and gathers information and loves the experiences of the mind, if you will, then our minds are going to turn towards the innovation of intellectual curiosity, desire for mental stimulation, things like that. So with Uranus in Gemini, or Uranus, however you want to say it, is that we may see some new inventions coming on. We're going to look for leading edge kind of things that have to do with cyberspace, science discoveries, educational methods, technological prowess, all kinds of science and technology things that are going to come online. And with Gemini being that air sign with learning, our education system is also going to have, I'll say, a rude awakening. We often use that with Uranus involved. I don't know how rude it'll be. It might be something really beneficial. Because one of the other things that I pointed out, especially when we've been going through all that Capricorn energy with Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, we were talking, that was where organizations and governments and establishments and things like that were being transformed. Well, here we are in a time where information is power. And I've been saying this for a while. And so with Uranus here, we're not only going to necessarily transform it because there's going to be innovation, but we're working with systems that are outdated, that no longer work, that need to be reinvented, or they need to be innovated. They're not working properly. So we're going to have this feeling maybe of leveling up when it comes to our information and education and technology and things like that. The last time that Uranus was in Gemini was from 1941 to 1949. So this was a time where we had also the World War II happening, right? And the end of it, that sort of thing. But there was a huge leap in communication, intelligence sharing, technology. The first modem computer was developed during that period. Radar and code breaking was also part of Uranus in Gemini back then. Sadly, the atomic bomb, which we know about when that was set off, the devastation there, but it definitely had this technological marvel to it, and it reshaped global politics, collective awareness. And then after the war, we had suburbia just really expanded, right? There was this whole I don't know the word I want to use. Anyways, there was this huge explosion, if you will, of suburban homes and neighborhoods and things like that, getting out of the city and into the suburbs. And then there's the expansion of highways. So we're working with Gemini, the transportation and how things get moved from one place to another. So it changed the way that people move through our neighborhoods, very much about that local connection and transportation. And of course, the baby boom that birthed an entire generation that we grew up immersed in the television era and digital connection, things like that. So just some pins on the map. Think now about how we have all of these various ways of communicating and understanding, and how that is going to get changed and transformed. Keeping all of that running in the background, now the pin on the map is Mercury in Leo. Now, with Mercury in Leo, right, our words become a little more flamboyant, a little more expressive. The way we learn, we're probably wanting to take on some new creative expression. Maybe there's a lot of communication happening with children. That's a very Leo type of energy. And Mercury, energized by the sign of Leo, this fire sign, it's also a lot to do with, the things that we think will bring us joy, that will bring us our heart's desire, right? So we're wanting some of that. Well, with Mercury in Leo, now going into shadow in the next couple of days, and it's going to retrograde from the 17th of July all the way through August 10th. So we'll have some shadow period after that as well. But we're already feeling some of the effects with technology, if we're trying to, I'll give an example. I was trying to get on my computer so that I could get my notes and look at the astrological chart and send some communication, some text messages and things like that. And my Bluetooth keyboard just stopped working. I replaced the batteries. I tried everything, and I'm being forced now to buy a new one if I want the wireless keyboard. So that's just one little piece of it. I'm also hearing of other people who are dealing with car issues, things like that. But the other thing with Mercury retrograding, we know things from our past, a theme, if you will, from the past comes back to us to be revisited. People from the past come back. I would imagine with Mercury and Leo that retrograde, you'll probably find a few of you having some romantic ties from the past coming back, if nothing else, to see if the connection is still there, maybe to see where you're at on a like on a heart level, right? And I keep saying heart with Leo because Leo rules the heart in astrology when it comes to the body. So these are going to be some interesting times over the next couple of weeks. I will say I'm very interested because I'll be away at the esoteric school during most of, or yeah, I would say the first 2 weeks of Mercury retrograde. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of communication shows up, because also with Mercury retrograde, miscommunication or misunderstanding happens. But because we're going to be in this, at least I'll be with the other graduates in this energetic field where we're really working with more subtle energy, because Mercury retrograde brings things internal, so our intuition can be really heightened, or the unseen realm can be really accessible. This should be a really cool time. So I'll be interested to see how that shows up for me on that experience. But for the rest of you who are not in my experience, in my dream, if you will, then you may find, like I say, some miscommunication, misunderstandings. Please double check work if you need to. This is a great time. If you are traveling, keep your sense of humor, because there could be delays. There could be some issues that show up that maybe you planned a trip and you can't take it because there's a health issue that comes in, or something along those lines. Do watch out for, as we talk about the heart, that if you are having any sort of physical heart issues, get them checked out. You know, take that thing kind of seriously. Anything else that I feel you should know? I feel like I've covered quite a bit. I thank you for hanging with me. I know the video is a little longer just because there's a lot to cover and it's been a while. But I will say that energetically over the next 7 to 10 days, there's going to feel, I'll say, a bit like you're going over speed bumps. I'm not seeing the roller coaster ride as much as I'm seeing these little speed bumps. And when I say little, the ones that, these speed bumps, so I have one over not far from my house at a grocery store parking lot, and these things are huge, it seems like, and it's like when you go over them, you better go slow or you could really rip apart your axle or undercarriage or whatever. And that's what these speed bumps feel like. It's like they're going to come in and you're just going to be forced to slow down, go slowly, or damage can be done. And that's going to be a theme over the next couple of days and weeks ahead, especially with that Mercury retrograde as well, is we're going to be forced to slow down. All right, you guys, I hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at jamiedawn.com, and I look forward to connecting with you. Have a great week.